right, welcome back to the stream, and we are a little off kilter. Let's see here. There we go. Ah, yes. Welcome. Saturday afternoon, February 22nd. Welcome back to the stream. My name is Angela. I am a software engineer and front-end developer in St. Paul, Minnesota. And on this channel, we build user interfaces. That is what we do. Here's what we're working on. And let's see here. You know, I was having some technical difficulties right before things got started. There we go. And let's see if we can recover. Oh, that's not it. Technology, I tell ya. I know how to use things that work, not things that don't work. There we go. What else do we have? Oh, yep, and I think this was also... Yeah, I use OBS, which is great software for streaming. I really do like it. But you know, it's open source. It's a little glitchy. Let's see, is this working? See if we can get... There we go. Okay. Wake up our little Heroku instance. And I think this is also working. Yes, it is. All right. Technical issues all ironed out. Hey, that's the nature of streaming, right? I think for the most part, I don't have too many technical issues. So, yeah, here we are. Okay. Here we go. So this is the template that we're working on. It's called the Ocean. This is a Photoshop mockup that I've had in my collection for a long time, like 8 years. And one of my goals, if you've been here, if you've been to the channel before, one of my goals, you might know, is that I'm going to take all of these mockups that I've had in my collection and just start building them out in 2025 and put those out into the universe by way of GitHub, just giving back some open source work to the community. And then in the meantime, if you can catch a stream, if you want to watch me build these things, you can see, you know, if you're learning or if you just want to get better at front end, you can see how I build things. I've been a front end developer for 11 years. I love HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That's what we do here. Not opposed to the occasional library. I do also really like writing my CSS with Sass, but I'm fine writing vanilla JavaScript also. I like Sass because I find it easier to organize my files and I like the nesting. And I really like vanilla JavaScript. I don't work on any JavaScript frameworks on this channel. In my professional life, I use Vue.js. I work for the University of St. Thomas here in St. Paul, Minnesota. Although I am leaving that job in March. In March, I will be going back to being self-employed. I plan to be a full-time freelancer, which is what I did before I came to St. Thomas. Freelancer, contractor, and now I'm adding a content creator to that list. Planning to spend a little more time on this YouTube channel beginning in March. So I'm really excited about that because I don't feel like I have a lot of time for it now. I pretty much just do the streaming on the weekends and that's it. So looking forward to 2025 and what I'm hopefully going to be able to do with this channel. So yeah, we're gonna build UIs. That's what we do here. Last week we did a lot of work on the navigation and the search drawer. So let's review what we did. I also want to talk about a little conversation that I had with ChatGPT related to accessibility and focus trapping. Let's see here. I think this is the conversation that I had. So first, let's actually go through and review what we worked on. We made the off-canvas navigation and we made the search drawer. So here's our search drawer. And when we click the search icon, we add an active class to the body. We add an active class to the search drawer, which triggers a CSS animation, and we add an active class to the search button itself. So let's see all three of these things in action. So here we have body class active, here we have button search active, and here we have search drawer active. We also have an aria hidden. So aria hidden false when it's open. And then we're also hiding the icons, and instead you can come back here and click the X, and then that toggles the actives off in all three of those places, and it goes back to aria hidden true because it is indeed hidden. Here's our mobile navigation, which kicks in at 768, which is roughly it is an iPad in portrait mode. So here is our menu, and again we trigger three things. So we put an active class on the body, we have an active class on the button menu, and then we have an active class on this mobile off-canvas drawer, and again we have an aria hidden false. And then if we click this, it animates and it goes back to its normal default state. So we have two distinct drawers, and I use the word distinct because when the navigation is open, you can still see part of the page. The reason I put the active class on the body is because you can see here that I have overflow hidden on the body. So when I'm here, I'm trying to scroll the body, and I can't scroll the body because the navigation is open. I did the same thing with the search. What makes the search distinct from the navigation is that it covers the entire screen. So two distinct drawers. One covers the screen, one partially covers the screen. Both have a active class on the body to prevent the body from scrolling. The other accessibility change that we made, I'm just going to refresh the page here since I've done a lot of clicking. So if I tab through now and I hit enter to open the navigation, we also implemented some JavaScript for something called focus trapping. So I am trapped now inside this drawer. You can't get out until you either close. So I hit return to close. I'm going to open it again. Or I can hit escape to get out. Oh, and that's not even working. What do you know? Well, hang on. Maybe I need to be inside. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't even notice that till now. So I have to be inside to escape out. And that's because, I'm pretty sure that's because this button, the menu open close button, is outside of the container. So that escape is only working on the container, and we had to add that button to the array for the focus trapping. That's interesting. So yeah, you can't even, so that, that's a bug. We have to talk about that. Yeah, I cannot escape out of that. Okay, now if I hit Shift Tab and go backwards, and I hit enter again, here's the other thing that should be happening, and I did notice this last week, which is that the search input should automatically get focus. Now I hit tab and it got focus, and we are trapped inside this drawer. And what's good about this is that all three of these things are in the same container. So I didn't have to pull in a button living outside the container into that array for the focus trapping. So regardless of where I am, yep, and I am able to hit escape to get out of here. Oh, and I'm hitting escape now and nothing's happening. But if I tab, yeah, I'm hitting escape again, but if I tab, so there's some bugs here. There's some bugs here. I mean, it never ceases to amaze me, things that I've done so dozens of times. I mean, I couldn't even tell you how many times I've made off-canvas navigation. And every time I do it, I feel like I have to think of some new consideration that I didn't think of before. And I think it's just, okay, well, it could just be me overthinking the situation. It could also, I think what I would like to believe is that every time I build something new, I feel like I have an additional set of accessibility tools to consider. I have an additional, I just have additional things that I'm taking into consideration, and it causes me to sort of overthink and think like, oh, am I doing this right? Is this the right way to do this? Okay, so that's where we're at. Here is the question that I asked ChatGPT, and this is the conversation, a continuation of the conversation that I had with ChatGPT about how to even implement focus trapping. So I just said here, I have a question about focus trapping, the navigation, make this a little bigger. Said I have a question about focus trapping, the navigation and search drawer. Is it enough to have functionality to close the drawer by tapping escape, or is it necessary for accessibility to trap the focus? Is it an accessibility concern at all? This is where I was like, Angela, you might be overthinking this. And it says here, the short answer is closing the drawer with escape is essential for accessibility, but trapping focus is also highly recommended for a better user experience. However, focus trapping is not strictly required for accessibility compliance. What is required for accessibility? Must be able to close the drawer with escape. This is a WCAG 2.1 requirement. Success criterion, no keyboard trap. Users who navigate with a keyboard, including screen reader users, must be able to exit the menu easily. Keyboard users must be able to navigate normally. If a user can tab through a page and interact with other elements after opening and closing the drawer, it's accessible. So that's another, then it got me thinking, okay, should I be basically locking in the body with overflow hidden because the drawer is open? Although if you can't get out, it's okay. But if you only implement an escape key to close the drawer, then you shouldn't be locking in the body, because users will be able to tab through the navigation and tab through the body, but the body will technically be locked. So you won't be able to scroll the body until you close. So that was another thing I was thinking of. Okay, is focus trapping necessary? While not strictly required by WCAG, focus trapping prevents focus from escaping to content hidden behind the drawer, which can confuse users who rely on a keyboard or screen reader. When should you use focus trapping? If opening the drawer hides or obscures the rest of the page, like an off-canvas menu, if the drawer is a modal style overlay that should behave like a dialogue, if users should not interact with anything outside the drawer while it's open. When is focus trapping not necessary? If the drawer doesn't cover the rest of the page and users can still access all content normally, if the user can visibly see they are navigating outside the drawer and can easily return. So that's why it got me thinking, okay, it's probably okay if that menu, which doesn't cover the entire page, so maybe we don't need to focus, we don't need to trap the focus here because the entire page isn't hidden. And as long as the body wasn't locked, so if we took this overflow hidden off, and the focus was able to tab through the entire navigation and then tab into the body and still traverse the page, and you could scroll the page, all you need to do is hit escape to close the navigation. So I'm thinking about changing that, or changing it and simplifying it is what I'm thinking about doing. Okay, so I'm thinking about simplifying for the navigation. Yeah, thinking about it. Best practice, use both escape and focus trapping, but make it optional. Escape, so the escape key to close required. Focus trapping for better UX recommended. Make focus trapping optional for users who may need to navigate out. If you want the most accessible approach, you could add a focus trap bypass, such as a skip link that lets users escape focus trapping if needed. Final recommendation, if your off-canvas navigation completely covers the screen, use focus trapping to ensure users don't accidentally tab to hidden elements. However, if your navigation is just a simple drop-down or small section, trapping focus is not necessary. Just make sure the escape works. Would you like a version of the script where focus trapping can be toggled on or off for different user needs? Yeah, so that's where we are. And then I had a conversation. I do think this would be a great tutorial. I mean, I think this would be a great standalone tutorial for the channel once once I wrap my head around what it is that I actually want to do here. And stop, stop I don't know. I'm going to stop saying that I'm overthinking everything, because I think these are great things to think about. These are really good things to think about. So, let's look at our JavaScript. Let's look at our JavaScript. Okay. So, yeah. So here's the trap focus function. Here's a function to toggle the nav. Here is a function for the search drawer. Yeah, the set timeout, I don't, so if is active, ensure the input gets focus after the UI changes. Document add event listener key down trap search focus. I wonder if it's because the toggle getting confused? And then here's the menu if event key escape. Stop. Oh, IntelliSense. I cannot. Menu button, add event listener, click toggle nav. Menu, add event listener, key down. Yeah, this is why. It's because it's menu, add event listener, key down, function event. So we need to do this for the menu button as well. Search button, add event listener, click. Close button, add event listener, click. Search drawer. Yeah. If the key event, yeah, so if the search drawer, okay. And then this is for our drop down in the sidebar. Sidebar, drop down. I need help adjusting the escape functionality for the menu. If the menu button is active, but the focus has not entered the drawer, the escape key doesn't work. I think the following needs to be modified. I know I'm right. Right now the escape key only works if focus is inside the drawer, but if the menu is open and focus is still on the menu button, pressing escape does nothing. Fix, detect escape regardless of focus. Instead of attaching the key down event only to the menu, attach it to the document. This ensures that pressing escape anywhere, even when focus is on the button, will close the menu. Oh, yeah. So if key event escape and menu class list contains active, toggle nav. Yep, that works. Okay. I feel like we should be able to do this for the search also, right? Like we could put in else if There you go. It knows what I want to say. So we wouldn't need this then. Yeah, that works. And what I like is that the focus naturally goes back up to the button, up to the search icon. So, and also, okay, so we're getting the search input is getting focus by default. Yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe the reason this wasn't getting focus was because there was like some kind of a sync issue between the toggle, because now it's getting it every time. Yeah, now it's getting it every time. I love it. I love it. I feel like this, everything is, oh, it didn't get it. Now it didn't get it. Why didn't it get it? But I can still escape out. There, it didn't get it. It didn't get it again. Okay, so the body is active. Let's check and see like what is and isn't active. Search drawer active. I mean, so everything. So let's escape. Okay, there we go. Not sure what the magic combination of things is. Haven't quite figured out. But even though there is an instance where it doesn't get focused like it should, it still functions better than it should just by changing. Come on. Just by changing this, by putting the escape on the document and adding a condition to either check the navigation or check the search drawer. I like it. And I think, so this is search button toggle, close button toggle. Yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna move these over here. So here's the sidebar drop down, escape key to the document, and this is attach click event to the buttons. Sure, that's a pretty good comment. Okay, well, oh, and I have a comment from Robot1. Angela, hi, how's it going? It's going well. That's a terrifying picture, but yeah, things are going great. How are you doing? Happy to have you. Thank you for joining. You know, I think this is good information to have. I think it's yeah, I think it's good information to have to understand accessibility. I want to obviously meet the standard when it comes to accessibility. I like to go beyond the standard if I can, but yeah, I also tend to overcomplicate things in my mind. I overcomplicate and overthink things, and trying to figure out if that's do I need to stop overcomplicating things, or is it a good thing to continually think about these things? So I don't know. I'll let you decide. That's what we're here to do, right? We're here to learn, we're here to practice, we're here to figure things out. So let's go ahead and push this up to, let's go ahead and get this deployed up to our Heroku instance, and then while this is deploying, let's check our functionality in Firefox. And then we'll check it on mobile. Git commit. Refining the focus, trapping, and accessibility for search and mobile nav. Git push origin. Okay, while that is deploying, let's check out Firefox. Let's see. Oh no, we do want our local environment. Okay. How do I control this on Firefox? I haven't taken the time to learn the settings. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to refresh again. Now we'll tab through. And that's right, Firefox has a very faint dashed line as the browser default for the focus. Oh, on buttons, but on links, it's the traditional. Escape. I think what I am liking the most is that when I escape, it naturally, the focus goes back up to the original button. That makes me very happy. And our input got focus by default. That's good. Yeah, this is working. This is definitely working. All right. Let's see here. Let's see how this is looking. And we're obviously not going to be able to tab through, and I don't have a screen reader on my iPhone, or I don't really know how to use the screen reader on my iPhone. So I'm mostly just checking. That's getting focus, so that's good. See, now I went back into it and it didn't get focus. If I tap it, it gets focus. We can scroll, but I can't scroll the background. So yeah, I mean, this definitely works the way I expect it to. So, and I think our mobile styles, that is a lot of space. So we could probably tighten that up. I think that's the space between. I think that's okay. We get the title, the date, the category, and the image, and you get like a snippet of text. I think this spacing is okay. There's a line that is not coming through. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. Yeah, you're not really going to be able to see it there either. There's a line that is not coming through on the screen that I do see on my phone. There's a lot of space there. There's a lot of space there. There's a lot of space there too. And then this is the sidebar. And there's a border around these sidebar items, but again, it's not really coming through. I don't know why. It's pretty faint. So, but it's there. If anybody is interested in checking it out, I will put it in the chat. And can I pin this? Let's see. So I'm getting a question, how to know if it's like the design. So on mobile, there was no indication of what the mobile design should be. So this is the mock-up that I had. I could go ahead and make like some JPEGs. I could go ahead and save these as JPEGs and put them in with the repository. So here's what the navigation was supposed to look like, the off-canvas navigation. And then here's the search drawer. So I'll let you pause the video and take screenshots of these if you want to. There are also additional inner pages that we're going to go ahead and build. Here's an inner page. Here's an inner page. We're going to get started on these next weekend. So yeah, here's what the design looks like. And these mock-ups are pretty old. I mean, I've had them since 2016. And there was, other than this off-canvas navigation, there was no indication of what it should look like on mobile. And I can tell you, as a front-end developer who's been doing this for 11 years, it is very rare that a designer gives me a full set of mockups for the mobile view of anything, unless there is something very specific that they want me to do that they don't think that I could naturally deduce on my own, right? So it's pretty normal in my experience to get mockups that only cover the desktop. Now, if you work with a designer, you can obviously go ask them questions like, hey, how did you intend for this to look on mobile? I think most of the time it's going to be up to you. And I think it's safe to when you're writing your HTML, structure the DOM in a way where you could see the mobile view sort of naturally falling into place. I think of the desktop as being the place where you're orchestrating a layout, right? Because in our HTML, in the DOM, everything is top to bottom. Everything is boom, 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 boom. And the whole point of CSS and layout is to rearrange those things on the page, right? In my opinion, a mobile view is almost always just laying it out in the original way that the DOM is structured. That's my approach. That's how I think of it. So I don't know if this question was specific to mobile, or if you were just asking me if I had mockups. So I'll go ahead and make some JPEGs of these mockups and put them in the repository for people. So I unfortunately cannot share the Photoshop files because this is a paid set of files that I bought, but I can share like a JPEG. So okay, so I'm really happy with what we did here with the accessibility. It ended up being such an incredibly simple solution to change the escape key to work on the entire document that seemed to fix a lot of my issues, a lot of my questions. We are not only meeting the minimum standard for accessibility by making sure the escape key works, but we have gone above and beyond to implement focus trapping. I like very much that the focus trapping works the way it's intended, and you cannot scroll the rest of the screen, so it doesn't come out of the drawer and it doesn't go into a screen that doesn't scroll anymore. So it works appropriately. I'm really happy with it. So let's go ahead and close this. Let's just try to tighten up some responsiveness here. So let's get down to about 450. There we are. And again, I think this looks okay. I think this spacing looks okay. I'm going to take myself off the screen here. I think this spacing looks okay. I think this is a lot of extra space, so let's see where we can tighten this up. And so all of these are these blog items, and they all have a lot of margin basically left over from the desktop version. So, and so like the layout has to be flexible. Yeah, I mean, I always try to take a very flexible approach. If you're interested, I would recommend that you go back and watch the first video in this series where we just spent an entire day writing the HTML. So I have my approach when I write HTML is that I have a top to bottom, left to right approach. So I go left to right, top to bottom, and in my mind, that is the layout that will take shape on a mobile device. So here we have everything on desktop. I'm thinking about how all of that is sort of going to collapse into a literal top to bottom design for layout. And then everything that happens in between is just how we sort of implement the smooth transition from desktop to mobile, whether that's an animation. I mean, I worked for one agency that was like really into like transitioning and animating elements as you go from desktop to mobile, which I understand why they like that, but I think it's a little unnecessary. So yeah, it's just thinking about left to right, top to bottom. What is that transition? So we have a lot of margin. Here we go. We have a lot of margin on these blog items specifically for desktop. So we can most certainly reduce these. I think we can reduce these down to 0. Although, so this is, oh, I know why this is different, because this is a different, yeah, because this has, this is this image only. That's why it looks so different. Oh, this is a good question. And what is your opinion about mobile first? Well, I have opinions about mobile first. So I understand why. I understand the conversation around mobile first. In my opinion, after 11 years of doing this work, it's just marketing talk. It's not. I mean, okay, if you want me to do, if you want to present me with a mobile first design, I can literally build it that way. If you want me to write CSS where the default style is the mobile style and the media queries are the desktop style, then yes, that is literally mobile first. But I can tell you, in my entire career, I have never been handed off a set of designs from a designer that were mobile first. I am always given desktop designs. Occasionally, I am given mobile designs if the designer has something very specific in mind that they want to tell me to do. I have never once been given a set of designs that were mobile first, desktop second. It's just never happened. So to me, when people talk about mobile first or mobile first design, those are like marketing people. Those are product managers. That's somebody that's probably trying to sell something. They're not actual developers or designers. So if you've had a different experience, I mean, I would love to know what that experience is, but I've never had that experience. I've worked at agencies, I've worked at organizations. I've worked with a lot of different types of designers. I've been in situations where there was no designer and they really relied on me to use the organization's style guide to implement branding and layout and things like that. And I've just never been handed a set of designs that were really truly mobile first. Now, I've worked on a lot of sites where the code was definitely mobile first, but how the code gets implemented and whether or not I'm handed a set of designs that are mobile first, they're not the same thing. It's not even a fair comparison. They're not related. Those two things aren't related. They mean two totally different things. I work on a code base now at my job where, yeah, technically the code is mobile first, as in all of the media queries are for desktop and all of the default behavior is for mobile. Great. That has nothing to do with how the design was done, though. That's just how that particular developer who coded that design did it. The two are, what's the term, mutually exclusive. They are not the same thing. So I don't know if that helps. I think that a lot of agencies and product managers and people who don't actually write code form these opinions about mobile first or how things should be done or thought of. And I'm just like, okay, well, that's not reality. So, and if somebody wants to like prove me wrong, show me. Show me. Because in 11 years, I've never had anybody hand me a design that was really, truly mobile first. So if you want to prove me wrong, just show me. You know where to find me. I'm here every weekend. So I think there are far more important things to worry about, like accessibility and making sure that the code that you write really is working in different browsers. Chrome and Firefox, those browsers are different engines, right? One is WebKit and one is Gecko. Do I have that right? I know they're different engines, and they are nuanced enough that you can do one thing in Chrome and it doesn't work in Firefox. Know what the difference is between how different browsers handle your front end code. Make sure that the JavaScript you're writing works on your mobile devices between desktop and mobile. Make sure that don't just look it in the browser or rely on the size of the window to make sure that your device, your mobile design actually looks good. You need to get it into iOS or get it into Android and make sure it actually looks good. Make sure that it is actually excessive. Make sure that somebody who uses a screen reader can actually navigate through the page and use the site. Make sure that you can tab through. You can actually tab through with the keyboard, that you can escape to close drawers. Like, it doesn't matter the pattern, mobile first or the opposite. I mean, I personally don't think so. I mean, like when I started learning front-end development in I got my first job as a front-end developer in 2014, but I had been all through 2012, 2013, just teaching myself HTML and CSS at home, right? And everything was mobile first, mobile first, mobile first. And I remember as a new developer being like, okay, can somebody actually explain that to me? Can you tell me what you mean? Like here I am, I'm learning HTML and CSS. I'm learning how to build layouts. I understand responsiveness. I can write a media query. I was just beginning to understand accessibility, but I know now in hindsight, I didn't have a clue. But I was like, okay, explain mobile first to me. And I would go work for these agencies, or I would take on contract work, and they would be like, mobile first, mobile first, mobile first. But then they would hand me a set of designs that were all desktop, and they would have maybe one design for one layout for mobile because it was something kind of specific that the designer wanted. So I've never once had anybody actually hand me a set of mobile first designs. What matters is the code. You are absolutely right. I don't know if this was a question or a statement. Either way, what matters is the code. Do you have clean code? Is it responsive? Is it accessible? Does it work in multiple browsers? Does it actually work on a mobile device? Don't just resize your window. Actually look at it on iOS or on Android. That's the most important thing. And listen, if you're at an agency or you're in your first job and the leadership team or the product managers are just throwing a bunch of word salad at you, just nod and say, no problem. Yes, of course I'm mobile first. Just nod and say, don't worry about it. And then just go do it and do it the right way and know that you're doing it the right way. It's just words. It's just word salad. So the things that I've been told by, agency owners and leadership teams at agencies are just kind of ridiculous. And they're things that people who don't actually do any of the coding love to say. They're just buzzwords, marketing terms, word salad. So I don't know. I think it's a lot of hype. So I don't hear a lot of people talking about mobile first, not like 10 years ago. So the fact that you're asking must mean that people are still talking about it. So okay, so let's tidy up. Yeah, this margin bottom for the okay, so let's go find our blog item half width. This is half width to go with the need the blog items. Here we go. Margin bottom, 3 rems. So let's go ahead and put in a media query. And we'll just say margin. I'm going to say margin bottom 0, but I know that we also need to adjust this. So this is going to be fine everywhere except this, because this one is just a little unique. It has this additional class. It's blog item full width image only. If we come back out here on desktop, you can see here. So this has on desktop margin bottom 5 rems. I think we're going to have to increase it for mobile. So if we increase this, let me see here. Well, not on the bottom though, right? It's the one above it. So maybe we want to add some margin to the top. Did that do anything? Yeah, that worked. Yeah, I think that's all we need to do is just scooch it down a little bit. So I'm trying to get a full stack dev. I'm a database administrator, so thanks. Yeah, good, no problem. Hey, listen, if you want opinions, you came to the right place. I have things to say, and good for you. I mean, I think I love seeing back end folks learn front end. Obviously, I love front end. Full of opinions about what I think is the right and wrong way to do things, but it's not even that there should be a right or wrong approach to things. There are so many ways to achieve the same thing. I just want people to cut through some of the BS, right? Stop with like the word salad marketing, and just be clean, responsive, accessible. And a lot of that just has to do with being really thoughtful with your approach. So, I don't know. Just my 2 cents. Hopefully that makes sense. So here's half width, image only. Here's the margin bottom. So let's go ahead and we'll do 0, 0, 5 rems, which is shorthand. And then we'll do a media query here. 768. I need to check. Oh, we should see a 960. I've been doing 960. Need to check some of our media queries. So then we'll do margin 1 rem, 0 on the left and right, and then 5. Let's see here. 768. Okay, so that's for the hero. This is for the blog item. Oops, switch this to 960. Okay. Yeah, I only want 768 on the hero. So let's see how this goes. Yeah, so this spacing, we have a tiny bit more spacing there. We still have a good amount of spacing here. And yeah, I think that spacing looks a lot better. And then let's tighten up this spacing here. So this is blog pagination full width. You can see here that we have 5 rems of space. So that's, how does that look? I mean, it's a tiny bit snug. What was it? So maybe we could just do 1. And yeah, so I'm going to change it so there's 1 rem on the top and bottom. That looks like a good amount of space for me. Right here. So we'll do another media query here. And we'll do margin, 1 rem on the top and bottom, 0 on the left and right. So this is shorthand, 5 rems on the top, 0 on the left and right, 0 on the bottom. And then when we get to a max width of 960, it switches to 1 rem on the top and bottom, 0 on the left and right. So that looks good. I like it. And then I don't really have anything that I need to change for the sidebar. Our footer is good. So we've got 3 rems of padding on the top and bottom of our main wrap. Let's see how that looks all the way up at the top. Do we feel like we need to adjust this? And then we've got a half rem on the left and right. So I'm wondering if we can just do 1. All the way around. What if we just did 0 all the way around? Yeah. I think 0 all the way around. I don't think that we need. Let's see here. Here's our main wrap, which on desktop we have 3 rems. Did I do that? No? Why did I do that? Let's go back out. Why do I need that much padding? So I know I need padding for... Oh, because of this transition right here. I needed it. But when it pops into mobile, I'm going to take all the padding off. Yeah. I don't know. Do we need still some padding? Maybe we just still need 1. But I don't think we need any down on the bottom. So we'll do a media query here. And you know, if you have designers who are thinking about these things and giving you specs, that is amazing. That is amazing. I've worked in a lot of really nice agencies with some really talented designers. Designers who would come to me during their design process and say, I'm thinking about doing this. Is this something you can implement? What if I did this? How much work would that be for you to do it that way? That's amazing. I mean, I have that now at St. Thomas. Lot of really talented designers out there, but I'm also here to tell you that your leadership team is really going to appreciate the fact that they don't have to do a spec or a design for every single aspect. Part of your job as the front-end developer is to use your judgment to think about the best practices of how you're arranging the DOM. You are the expert in writing CSS. It's your responsibility to make sure that those things are being done in a clean way that makes it responsive and accessible. That's part of the job. So I would never tell a front end developer to learn to be a designer, but the more that you can develop your eye for design, in a sense, just for layout and spacing and how to implement your organization's branding or the client's branding or whatever, the better off you're going to be. So yeah, this is looking amazing. So we have that nice little bit of space there as we transition down. And then as soon as we get to 960, that sidebar falls down and we have that nice bit of padding that just comes from the layout itself. We don't need to have that on the main wrap. I love it. It looks great. And so if you've been following along with me, I mean, this is like day 10 working on this. I take several passes to go through a design. I do this top to bottom approach several times. In my opinion, that's the way it should be. You don't need to figure it all out in one sitting or in one session. You don't need to figure it all out at once. You should have the opportunity to come back at least a couple of times and review the spacing with fresh eyes. So yeah, I'm loving this. I feel like this is done. Let's go ahead and push this. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and push this. We'll check Firefox and then we will check mobile. I love it. Refining the mobile layout. Git push, origin main. All right, while that is deploying to our environment, let's check Firefox. And it's yelling at me because I don't have a favicon. Maybe we can do that tomorrow. We're going to do some little design touches tomorrow. Well, what I really want to do tomorrow is animate this layout. Do some nice transitions on the layout, which I'm pretty excited about. Nothing too crazy, but that's definitely what we're going to work on tomorrow. Should probably make a list of what we want to do tomorrow. There we go. So this, we made sure that these are supported up to 768 pixels, which is that iPad portrait. So that doesn't drop down to the stacked layout until then. But everything else goes into mobile at 960. And I'm interested in management system for stock or library. Oh, like managing, like doing database management for stock, inventory, library type of thing. That is very cool. I mean, good database people are for sure in demand. So if you can come into an organization being able to help them with that type of management and help them with their front end, like those are good skills to have. And yep, this is looking really nice on mobile. Yes, it is. Oh, and you can kind of see, you can see the gray outline here. This is from all right, let's see how things look. And this is iOS on Chrome. Let's close. I know that's not. Let's see if this is. I feel like that's still a cached version. I think there's too much space there between food and drink and the bottom of that. Let's keep going though and see. Yeah, I think we're still getting a cached version here. There's way too much space in between. So let's close this. And let me pull up Safari. Let's see here. Yeah, I can tell that this is not a cached version because that looks like the right amount of space. Yep, and this looks like the correct amount of space also. And I like this amount of space because we made sure that all of these icons had the 48 by 48 pixel tap target, and we want people to be able to tap without bumping into other things. So yeah, this looks good. That looks good. I like the amount of space on the sides. Whoops. I like the amount of space on the sides. You can still see the image, the category, the title, the date, and the first couple of lines of the content. Plus we have a fixed header. And then here's our sidebar. So here's the newsletter, which is not connected to anything, but if it gets focus, it's pulling up. So here's the other thing in our, let's flip over to the code really quick. If you don't know this, if we go to, let's find our form. There's the hero. Let's get down to our... So here's the sidebar. Here's the input for the newsletter sign up. And I would recommend that if it's a newsletter sign up, make sure that the email is a type email. And the best reason to do that is because when the input gets focus, it will pull up a keyboard specific to an email. And we can see that here because it is pulling up my email address, which it has saved, but it's also pulling up email related items on the keyboard. So if you know that the input is for a phone number, put in type phone and it'll pull up a keyboard specific to a phone number. If you know it's for a password, put in type password. So I would recommend looking at MDN, has a full list of all the different input types. So we can clear that. And then this is our category drop down, which is just a button with a UL. And that works. Just tapping to open and close. Here's our footer. I love it. She's so pretty. She's so pretty. So it looked great on Safari. And here we can scroll through our inner navigation, but the outer container, the outer body. And you can see here what a normal keyboard looks like. And this is just input type search. Yeah, it looks great. Let's see if I can pull up, if I can get Chrome to pull back up here. Yeah, we're still caching. We are still caching here. iOS has the strongest caching, so yeah, that's fine. Okay. I'm not too worried about it, so I'll take a look later this evening. All right. So the plan for tomorrow is let's just take a top to bottom approach of what it is that I want to get done tomorrow. The first thing is I'm not sharing. Let's go, here we go. Okay, so the first thing is these 3 images in the header really should all be links. Presumably you would click on one of these and they would take you to an article. And I didn't do that when I was building this. I just honestly didn't even think of it. So these 3 articles need to be wrapped in an anchor element. And then I would like there to be a hover or a transition that when you hover, we zoom in on that photo. So we're going to go ahead and wrap each of these things inside an anchor link. And I'm not going to wrap the anchor around the article. So we've got article, figure, div, and hopefully you can see this here. We've got an article, and then inside we've got a figure and a div. I'm going to wrap each figure and div in an anchor tag, and then we will put a transition, a hover, and zoom in on the image. So that's the first thing we're going to do. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do an on-scroll transition, which let me see if I can pull this up. We've done this once on our last project, which I haven't worked on. Let's see here. But it'll give you a good sense. And yes, I am planning to finish working on this. So this is a website that I made for myself. And you can see down here at the bottom, we don't really see anything yet. But we did implement some really nice, subtle transitions. So I want to do something similar, just very smooth, very subtle, where things just sort of like smoothly, slowly come into place on scroll. So I've already written all the code to do this on this previous project. So we're going to go back and look at that project. We're going to use animate.css. We'll pick some nice, smooth, subtle transitions, because this is a big, long page. I mean, look how long this is. We could implement some really nice, subtle, on-scroll, nothing that is vital to usability, right? Think of it as, what could we do to just enhance the user experience, make it a smoother, just sort of fun, professional, polished looking page. Nothing that inhibits accessibility or messes with our responsiveness, just provides a nice experience for the user. So those are the 2 things that we're going to work on tomorrow. I would also like to, if we have time, there's a site called brandcolors.net We are going to look up the brand colors for our social media icons, and then on hover, that will be the color. So we're going to implement some unique colors for our icons. Again, it is just a little thing that I think makes things seem nice and polished. And then we are going to have, if I do say so myself, one hell of a nice homepage for our little static website. After tomorrow, we're going to start building the inner pages. We are going to build this page. So we've got 1, 2, and this page has a slider, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 inner pages that we're going to build. So I'm guessing that this is going to take probably the rest of March, but I am completely fine with that because I'm really excited to build out these inner pages and put this up on GitHub as a fun little open source project. So, and this is what we're going to continue to do for the rest of 2025. We're going to work on these mockups, get these built, get these out into the universe for other people to use and enjoy. And that's where I'm going to leave it for today. So, thank you to everybody who joined me. I love the questions. I love that people want to know what I think because you know that I'm happy to tell you. Join me again tomorrow where we will continue with the things that I just talked about. Have a great rest of your day wherever you are, and I will see you in my next one. Bye-bye.